There are many different methods of balancing limbs. The concept is to keep the limb more static rather than to cut it off and have it fall into the lowering line in a more dynamic situation and loading the whole system up with more force, okay? Here we're going to have much lower forces on all the different components of the system. Here, the orange sling is actually a loopy sling or an adjustable sling. Note that the way I've choked it onto the limb, the splice is actually forming the bite. I'm using a heavy steel carabiner. I want to make sure that it's closed and locked. And I want to make sure that both parts of the rope are loading against the spine. Now, I've asked Scotty to tighten it up, so that should stay put. On the other end, I've girth hitched. Since we had the end of the limb, I was able to just choker hitch, girth hitch over the end of the limb. Now, the way we've got it, the rope positioned or the balancer positioned on the limb, you can see that there's a pretty good balance point. And in fact, when I cut the limb, it should move slightly away from me. I want to make sure it's not swinging too far or too fast away from me, because then it's going to come back at me, okay? So positioning of all the parts is very important, and finding the balance point is also very important. Okay, you can notice the true blue here, the blue line just this side of the balancer, that's our tag line. Now, the tag line we're going to use to keep the limb from swinging back away from me. The tag line does not support the weight of the limb. It's only used for control. And Norm, if you would, go ahead and run that up for me. Now, we're not going to have a lot of swing in this limb, so I don't think you'll need to tie it off, which we could do if we needed to, or perhaps take a wrap on a tree, or even set it into a friction device to help control the swing of the limb. Okay? I'm going to move back into position for my cut. No matter what type of a cut you're making, work positioning is always very important. You've always got to think through where will you be when the piece swings or spins. Keep in mind the way it will move once it's cut off.